Are you ready to watch, learn, and create some really cool motion graphics in HitfilmPro, like the one you just saw? Let's go! Okay, this is my first HitfilmPro tutorial, so if I go a little slow or make a mistake, bear with me, but hopefully it'll be worth it. So to create this effect, the first thing we're going to do is create a new file. I'm doing it at 1080p, 29.97 frames per second. I shoot most of my video at 30 frames, so it works for me. You can choose whichever one you like. Let's start compositing. And for this effect, 6 seconds seems to be plenty. So we're going to go ahead and type in 6 there and click OK. So the first thing we need to do is create our main text. So we're going to go to New Layer, Text, and let's choose something thick. I like to choose something like Impact is pretty thick. And let's go ahead and we'll raise the size up a little bit so we can see it. And let's start by typing in Are you ready? And let's increase the size. Let's make it about as big as the comp so that even if we need to size it down later on, we can, but it's better to start off big and go small than the other direction. And we'll distribute it right in the middle of the frame. Let's go ahead and choose the word you. Change the color of that to something different like red. Click OK. So this is going to be, let's rename this our main text. All right, now we need to create that spherical opening in the middle here. So to do that, search for the effect Atomic Particles, and let's drop that right onto the main text. Now as you can see, once you apply that, it actually turns the text into particles. And it's not quite dense enough for what we need. So let's open up the atomic particle effect and come down to particle appearance. And right now the size is at 5. Let's go ahead and change that to 10. And as you can see, that fills it out nicely. And then random size, I put it 0. I really don't want, I want them to be uniform. So there we go. We have our text, looks perfectly normal again. So now we need to animate our opening there. So let's come over to 1 second. And we're going to open up the spherical warp. Now under this you have strength, position, radius. The strength is what actually creates the movement here. So at this frame, let's create a keyframe at 0. And let's also create a keyframe for the radius here so it doesn't change. All right, so then let's move forward 15 frames. Okay, here we're going to change the strength up just to where, if you look, you're getting a nice smooth opening here. It's not getting all particly and changing the effect. And then let's open up our radius big enough to where we can fit some words in the middle. So now if we're looking at what we have here, boom, opens right up for us. And if we come down in here to the atomic particles effect down here, we can take these keyframes and smooth them out a little bit. So we get a little, it's a little smoother of a transition. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to create our center text. So let's create a new layer, text, and come here to text. We'll leave the color at red. Let's bring the size down some because it does have to fit inside of that hole. And we can always change the size as we go. But so here, let's type in, let's see, are you ready to watch, learn, and create. All right, so really quickly, we're going to put those in the middle also. Let's come and see how big our hole is and how big our words are and if they will fit in that section. And actually, you know what? We can take those, probably make them a little bit bigger because we're going to mask it out anyway. All right. So now that we know that they're going to fit in there well, let's go ahead and just slide this over to here. This way they won't appear before that. So now we need to mask these out. So we're going to create a new layer, a plane, and let's just make it, we'll leave it a gray here. We'll make it the full size of the comp, and we'll just call this text matte. Okay. And then drop down into the transforms of that, and let's resize that. So we'll break this here so we can do this independently. And we want the mask to probably be about the height of either side of this. So this way the words will appear behind that. So now we can actually turn this off. We don't even need to see that anymore. But we need to attach that mask to this new text, which we will call center text. Just keep things nice and neat. All right, so now let's search for the set matte effect. And then we're going to take and drop that set matte effect onto our center text and twirl down the effects here. We're going to set our source layer to text matte, and we're going to change our blend mode to subtract. But now the word's not appearing there, so let's invert that. So that means the only thing that's going to show up inside of that text matte is the word that's in it. So now we need to animate our center text. So, all right, let's come down to center text, transform. So at this position, we want the first word to appear. So we're going to go to position, and we're going to put the word watch there. And then we're going to move forward about 15 frames or so. Nah, forgot to keyframe it, sorry. Keyframe the position there. Come forward 15 frames or so. Keyframe the position again, so we're just going to toggle keyframes. And then we're going to move forward 1, 2, 3 frames. And we're going to move up to the word learn. All right. Let's come forward another 15 frames or so. And we will toggle a keyframe there so that keeps it in that same position. 3 more frames forward. Let's come up to the last word, create. We'll go ahead and leave that there for about 15 frames or so. Toggle 1 more keyframe for that. Come forward 3 frames, and then take it completely out of the mask. So if we look at this, what we've got is great. That's exactly what we want. Let's go ahead and grab these. We'll smooth those out as well. We can also turn on motion blur for those if we like. Will help. Now the last thing we need to do is close the hole, because we have this big hole, we need to close it. So let's come to the 4-second mark. We'll twirl down the main text again. We can see we still have all these keyframes available for the strength of the spherical warp and the radius. So let's select these 2 keyframes. We'll go Control C, copy them, Control V, and we'll put it in place where the timeline is, or where the cursor is. Then we'll come forward and we'll select these keyframes, Control C, and then Control V, place them there. And if we play back our animation now, we should have our final effect. Let's take a look. Are you ready? Are you ready to watch, learn, and create? And there you go. And you can place this on top of, since it has a transparent background, you can place it on top of anything you want. Once you bring this composite shot into a timeline, you can then, through the clip properties, change the size, position, so it doesn't have to be in the center, it doesn't have to be full size. So anyway, I hope that helped, and I hope you enjoyed this first of hopefully many HitfilmPro tutorials. Thanks for watching.